My name is Shubham Jain, one of the advisor of BFM Committee, HR College of Commerce and Economics, and I shall be the host for today's webinar. I have with me Daniel Fernandez, who will be the co-host for the day. I would like to welcome you all in the live session with Mr. Parth Nadkar on fundamental analysis. Before we start, I would like to introduce our esteemed principal, Dr. Poojaram Chandani, who has been a constant pillar of support and guidance for all of us. Her constant encouragement has always motivated us to push our boundaries and achieve excellence. Due to some last minute commitments, ma'am couldn't join the webinar. Now Daniel will continue from here.
I would like to introduce Professor Shweta Singh, who is the professor in charge for our committee. She is exceptionally supportive and an insightful teacher who has always encouraged us to give us our best and set high benchmarks. Ma'am, I would like you to request to say a few words.
Hi, thank you, Daniel. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I welcome Mr. Parth. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation in such a short time. So welcome, and I welcome the professors who are here, joined in, and all the students for the session. So I'm sure it's going to be great learning for all of you on the topic of fundamental analysis. Without taking much of a time, I would request Saurav to please speak the introduction for the speaker. Thank you.
To start with a brief introduction of our speaker, Mr. Parth, he is the founder and managing director at Pranam Investments, which is a boutique investment banking firm headquartered in Pune, having an AUM of more than 80 crores. He is also a founding partner at Syndicap Ventures, and he is also co-founded A&T Industries, which is an automotive venture. Lastly, he's been a finance manager at Integrated Capital and Trade India. Parth sir is an experienced investment banker having a successful track record in corporate financing, mergers, and acquisitions. Now, I would like to request Mr. Parth to kindly take over and educate all of us. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saurav. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the kind introduction, and I'd like to thank all of you for actually having me for this session. And yeah, so I'll just share my screen. I have a short presentation ready. It'll be easier for you guys to understand what I'm speaking about. So do I have the rights to share the screen as well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You do have the right.
Yeah. Am I audible, visible, the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is the presentation also visible to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 1 minute. Yeah, is the presentation visible properly? Just the presentation?
Yeah.
Should I go
Yes.
ahead?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you guys for having me, first of all. And today I'd like to share a few quirks or few tricks where in our internal firm, how we do a fundamental analysis of particular stocks that are already there in the picture. So here, let me be very candid in speaking that, many of the sessions that I do, people come and ask me that to analyze this particular stock, to analyze this particular company. So technically, it does not work like that. Even there are certain people who come and ask me, ki, aaj ka market kaisa hai? That is the first question that everybody asks you, even when you're doing the even relatives or customary people who come and ask you, ki, bhai, aaj market kaisa lag raha hai? Mujhe ye stock mein dalna chahiye kya? So in that particular context, your analysis always speaks. Your analysis is always the. So definitely there is a technical analysis as well as a fundamental analysis. More or less, we will be covering the fundamental analysis part here today. But altogether, my suggestion will be whenever you are doing an analysis of a stock, do a combination of the technical as well as the fundamental analysis. basis. So here on a basic level, what I've done is I've compiled some kind of methods or some kind of algorithms that we use internally to analyze stocks. And then I have 1 or 2 templates of our internal reports as well, which I will show you in the further slides going forward. Okay. So the basic definition of what actually do you mean by fundamental analysis. And if you have any questions, if you have any queries, no problem. You can just interrupt me or put it in the chat box as is. I'll address the queries while I'm going through the presentation itself. So we are on the same slide where you're asking the queries regarding whatever the topic is. So yeah, going forward. What do you mean by fundamental analysis is the basic most question that arises. So what do you mean by fundamental analysis? Fundamental analysis is when an investor analyzes a company's future profitability. So whatever analysis we do is not on the particular day, it is on the future projection basis. And yeah, even this presentation, what I will do is whatever I'm presenting, whatever the data I will be sharing with this, I'll be putting in a Google Drive in the chat box. So guys, you don't need to take any kind of notes. You just need to listen and just interact with the ongoing session. I will share that in the Drive link itself with you guys as soon as the presentation over. So no need to worry about that. Yeah, so fundamental analysis is basically analyzing or presenting a company's future profitability or futuristic value based on environment and the financial performances. So a fundamental analysis is a combination of qualitative as well as quantitative aspects of the company. Both are considered in this. So, on a basic level, when you decide to put money or you decide to invest in a particular stock, you don't invest in the idea that, the company is performing very well and it is on a higher level at this point of time. So when the company is already at a very high, that means it is not a good investment opportunity. You need to identify this opportunity when it is going forward, when it is at a lower scale. But the fundamentals of that company should be strong. So here, the basic idea here is to assess general efficiency of a company's operation, its future growth, its profit making, and whatever the revenue that they have given in the past, basically. So analyzing past data, compiling what you think will be the future, and according to that, you may need to make your investment decisions. Fundamental analysis is divided into 2 parts, which is qualitative and quantitative, like I told you. So few of these slides are going to be very basic. So just to brush up, I think you're BFM students, so you might be aware about most of these terminologies or you can say the short forms. But just to go ahead, fundamental analysis is divided into qualitative and quantitative. So whatever it is there in the qualitative is your quality of your earnings, your assets and liabilities, the nature of your business, the market position of your particular company, as well as your corporate governance and quality of your management. So even the quality of the management, whoever are there on the board of directors of that particular company, also makes a huge difference in how the company is going to perform in the future. Quantitative analysis actually means the projected earnings, and the ratio analysis of basic ratio analysis, what we do. So going forward, where do you begin the fundamental analysis on a company? So the basic question is financial statements. Wherever and whenever you're analyzing a company, the financial statements represent the whole historical performance of that individual company. And that is where you need to start your whole analysis or whole, you can say the presentation perspective or you can say the data manipulation perspective. So here, the financial statements are divided in 3 categories: your cash flow, your income, your balance sheet. Your income basically is also profit and loss statement that is called in the audited balance sheet. But usually it is called as cash flow, income, and balance sheet. These are 3 financial statements which are there on a basic level for every company, whether it is a private limited or a public limited. These basic financial statements, as you know, always represent the you can say the nature of the company and how the company is going to perform. Now going back to the cash flow, is basically it is the cash position of the company in terms of operating, investing, and finance. So it gives you an idea about what kind of liquidity or what kind of money is rotating in that company. So then there's an income statement, which is profit and loss, basically, which gives you an account of the, you can say, the expenses and whatever the company has earned in this particular financial year. And then you can classify them and subtract them from the incomes that have arrived or the profit, or whatever kind of, you can say, the deviation that you want to do in that particular profit and loss statement. Then there is balance sheet, which is the most critical financial statement. That is the consolidation of all the assets and the liabilities. Unlike the income statement, the balance sheet reflects the, you can say, the state of the assets and liabilities. Where, what do you mean by state is particularly at that point of time, what kind of assets are available in the company. That those assets can be tangible as well as intangible. Tangible assets actually mean, the actual cash in bank, the actual, you can say, land, machine, building, whatever is available in that. And intangibles can be your, you can say, your contracts, whatever the future agreements that you've done. So these are intangibles, these are prospects. So those are classified as intangibles. And a total conversion of all of those analysis is done, we can say representation, sorry, not analysis, a representation is done in the balance sheet format. So the 7 questions, whatever the analysts, whenever we start on an internal basis, these are the 7 questions any of my managers is going to ask the analyst going forward. So what is the expected industry growth rate? What is the market share of the company expected to increase and how it is going to increase? What is the age of the company's assets? So basically, if you own a particular, you can say, depreciating of an asset. So when you own a car, or when you own a furniture, or when you own a computer, the maximum life that is considered in a company's balance sheet is more or less around 10 to 15 years, after which that particular asset goes to zero value. So you need to identify if the company actually has appreciating assets or depreciating assets. Appreciating assets can be definitely your land and building, basically. Land, building, minus the COVID and the lockdowns that are happening. But this is an exponential growth in the real estate market. So whenever you analyze a company's assets, the land, building, and whatever infrastructure investments that they have done is always going to be an appreciating asset. Then what new investments is the company going to make? The futuristic, you can say, whatever contracts that they have in place, that is basically started upon in such a way that I have, say, 1, 2, 3, 4 contracts from a particular company that I'm going to get. So going to the future, this is going to convert in your revenue. This is going to be the projected revenue of that particular company. So you need to identify what kind of, you can say, investments or what kind of order book that they have going forward. Second, then the fourth and you can say the fifth question is the state of the competition in the market. So there are many companies who are there in this particular sector. So there can be a comparable analysis also that can be done in these particular, you can say, this particular sector. So doing an analysis on an overall sector in a 3 or 4 company comparison gives you an idea about what exactly the position of that company against its competitors might be. So what is the positive leverage that the company has over its competitors is what we understand in this particular, you can say, the chart plotting. Then what are the management's future objectives and how much does the company usually spend on research and development of the new product? So R&D costs can also be justified while going forward in that particular, you can say, particular shareholding value. So I can give you an example about what happened during COVID. Many of the public limited companies, for example, you can say Pfizer, you can say Bharat Biotech, or whatever companies that were listed, and the vaccines that have already come into the picture. You can see how heavily they have invested back in 2020 balance sheet in the early 2 quarters when the COVID was prominent. That is the money that they pumped in the research and development of that product. So whenever the quarterly statements of those companies are released, you can identify that the research is being heavily, you can say, invested upon. So there's a new product which is going to come. This is an early tracking about these companies where, the research and development has been there. But yes, pharmaceutical is a very, you can say, a very nascent bet, because the chances of getting an approval are actually very less. But still, the R&D expenses, whatever the management or whatever the contracts going forward, that can be plotted, and that is how you can develop your whole revenues going forward. The top line of that company is going forward. So the balance sheet analysis. Now, I think everybody is sleeping. Could I have an answer to this question? Whenever there's a balance sheet asset, basic accounting, assets is equal to liabilities, whatever is there in the, you can say, in the balance sheet that is given for all the public limited companies. But actually, there is one particular point. This is equal to liabilities plus what? Could I have some answers in the chat box? Let me see who all can guess. Okay, Kushi is giving me the correct answer in a direct message. Great. Is there anybody else who knows that? Great. Thank you so much for the answer. So I can see that actually you guys are awake. So yes, assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. That shareholder funds, yeah, shareholding equity, not the shareholder funds. You should say shareholding equity. So that's the correct answer while going forward. Good. Thank you so much. So yeah, divided in a basic format, assets versus liabilities. Assets are divided in two formats, that is current and long-term assets, which is there on the screen, so I won't be repeating anything else. Liabilities are divided into two formats, which is long-term and current. So you need to identify these subheadings in that particular balance sheet when you assess a particular company going forward. Income statement. So whenever you're seeing a profit and loss or an income statement, these particular subheadings are the critical points where you need to plot it in your charting as well. Where we also plot all these, you can say all these points in our charts of analyzing how the company is going to perform. So the sales revenue, of course, minus the cost of goods, that gives you the gross profit. Then you have to subtract the operating expenses, or if there is an operating income, an additional income that needs to be added here. Then that gives basically your EBITDA, and then depreciation, amortization, interest expense, income tax, whatever is then subtracted, then that gives you basically. So a profit after tax and net income. So basically, when you analyze a company, the you can say the 5-point income statement, what you need to identify is the sales, the top line of that company, the gross profit, EBITDA, profit after tax, and net income. These are the 5 things that you need to chart down in that particular, you can say an Excel sheet, basically, whenever you do it. So after we come to the financial statement, the second most important aspect is understanding the financial ratios. So you guys might be aware about the financial ratios. I have a basic, you can say, basic understanding of your courses. So definitely you will be aware about the financial ratios. So I won't be giving you all the definitions of all the ratios, just the important 5 that we are going to use in the, you can say, the next analysis that we do later on. Financial ratios are divided by profitability, liquidity, efficiency, and the risk ratios. So here, what we usually analyze is the profitability and the liquidity. So why liquidity is also important is, many of those companies, if you say they have a good bottom, you can say a good top line, but due to this COVID effect, the lockdown effect, many of the companies have started depleting their capital, their reserves, basically, for their future expansion or for their future, you can say, their month-on-month expenses. So a liquidity aspect is very important when you even check it out in terms of the assess a company, basically. See, the top line, the gross profit, the profitability, and all these ratios are always going to be very important around the first. So the second priority always lies in liquidity ratios. A very simple example about liquidity is you need to execute an order in a company. So for example, I have 1,000 crore order book, but I don't have the necessary capital required to execute the 1,000 crore top line. So when I don't have that particular capital to execute that order, my turnover won't increase, or I won't be able to, you can say, service that particular order that I have taken. So that kind of liquidity ratio, or that kind of, the cash management should also be present in that particular company. And these liquidity ratios tell you this exact same thing, that is it in a negative liquidity format or a positive liquidity format. So yeah, so I have given only 5 definitions in the presentation, which we usually use on a day-to-day basis. 5 ratios that are very much important while plotting any kind of a fundamental analysis. A working capital ratio represents the company's ability to pay its current liabilities with its current assets. So a working capital represents the difference between a firm's current assets and current liabilities. That is the basic of any balance sheet. Working capital ratio, the basic format is revenue divided by working capital. This ratio always gives you an idea about how well the company is positioned against its working capital or its working needs. That is where the second point goes around. Second is your earnings per share, EPS. So EPS has 2 basic formats: net income of the company against the average outstanding shares. So net income of the company can, if there's a dividend issue, you need to subtract that from the net income as well. That gives you an actual earnings per share. The next 3 formulas are price earning, that is the PE ratio, which is always, the most important ratio that is always going to be there in the technical as well as the fundamental analysis. So PE ratio is actually the market value per share divided by earnings per share, or you can reallocate it in such a format, which is average common stock price per share divided by the net income per share. It is more or less the same number with a minute deviation, but a PE ratio, usually the price earning ratio, is the ratio that reflects the investor's assessment for those future earnings, basically. The debt to equity, it is by adding the outstanding long-term and short-term debt and dividing it by the book value of. Next is the return on equity. So return on equity, actually the ROE, is where the fundamental analysis lies. The returns that you are going to get, like you're investing $100 at this point of time, and the returns are going to be calculated on the futuristic options, on the futuristic, you can say, the numbers, which are not actually proven in the company. So see, when you say futuristic predictions, it is predictions. It is not the actual sale, and nobody can tell you that exactly this is the sale that the company is going to achieve next year. These are projections that are going to go forward. So when you put some kind of projections, you need to also analyze, is the company capable to actually get to that top line, or get to that, you can say, the projection value. That is where the return on equity, where there is a net income divided by the equity. So you correlate the net income of that particular company by whatever equity that you will get. So are these basic terms clear to you guys at this point of time, or do you have any questions with this?
So there's one question in the chat box, like if there's a message to me. So they're asking, is there a standard return on equity that you look for? Like, do we have a number like 10% or 15% of ROE?
No, it's not a standard. It's not a standard number. It actually depends on the how do you say? It depends on the sector. It is very sector specific. Whatever numbers that we're looking for, you need to generally analyze the market trends there. What is the exact number that the companies in that particular sector are giving you at this point of time, and then compare that particular sector. Is it underperforming, overperforming, top line and bottom line? So there is no particular number that can be assigned at any given point of time.
Okay.
then this is the, you can say, what do you say? This is the particular, say 10.32 is the exact number. उसके ऊपर ही देखना ऐसा नहीं रहता. You have to analyze it and correlate it with the actual market industry standard that is going on right.
Okay, so
Right now, if you consider the pharmas are going up, so their numbers will be up by default. Manufacturing is going down comparatively right now. The you can say the equity value of you can say real estate companies are coming down right now because there is an insufficient number of buyers in the market. So this all depends on the trends that are actually there in that particular point of time in the market. So you need to identify trends accordingly and then define a ratio to your that particular company.
Okay. Also, do we not consider companies that have really high price to earnings ratio? Like, do we ignore it, or do we don't consider the companies which have high price to earnings ratio?
You have to consider it. If it is high price to earnings ratio, we can consider it.
Okay, so because a few resources and books usually mention that the lower the P, the better. So does that work in real life, or how does the P work?
See, lower the PE basically. Sorry, I have a bad cough. So see, lower the PE does not mean it is a better company. Again, identify it in such a format that you need to identify what kind of PE ratio is going on in that industry, and then compare it with the company that you are, thinking about investing into. I have it in the next actual analysis that we'll do for the company. So I have those points covered there.
Okay.
So theoretically investing and actual investing, there is a huge difference in those particular formats also. Okay, this is a 5-step DuPont analysis of the ROE, return on equity. You can refer it later because it is a complicated format. So let's just skip it right now. Yeah. So okay, this is a chart of what date, but this is how particularly we analyze all the companies that we have. So whenever you're talking about stock market, so everybody sees Reliance, everybody sees Tata, everybody sees all the top 10 companies, which are considered to be the best in terms of the investment options. Sometimes it is not like that. You need to identify even those underperforming companies which have a good, you can say good management, strong analysis point, or a strong growth perspective, where you can get even better returns rather than putting it in any kind of you can say the top 25 companies in the Nifty or in the stock market. So what we also do is analyze you can say the mid-sector companies, not even the lower ones, the mid-sector companies where it is them getting it ignored because the trading volumes are very less in these companies. But our fundamental analysis can give you a good idea about what kind of price points these companies actually have. So this chart might be, say, 2 weeks old or a month old, something like that. So if you want, could you just pick any company in that and we'll just check out what the actual value is right now. Let's just assume if we are doing a good job or not in analysis.
Let's do with Titan Bio.
So okay, fine. I'll just check it out on Google itself. IOL, Heath Parekh. Heath, you only tell me what is the current value of IOL? So yeah, till the time he actually goes on to Google and checks out the latest price of IOL. So what we'll do is these are the, you can say, the top charts, or these are the top values that we usually put it in our reports as well. So the PE comes to the first option after the targeted. You can say these might be the targeted price that we have quoted. Next is the market cap, a percentage in dividend yield. Dividend yield is actually important where in understanding what kind of you can say what kind of code that we are already giving here. So 654.1. Okay, so we are on the lower space, so that means we've given it a good call. You want to pick any random companies, I don't mind. Till that time, I'll just explain what the whole chart is about. So the market cap gives you an idea about what kind of market position and how huge the company is. You can try even very small companies, like, there are quite of ignored companies also. Like, you can say there is a 12 crore market cap PH Capital. It's a very small company compared to, all the giants that have been listed in the stock market. But there are certain aspects where, these companies can give you good kind of returns because they are quite ignored. The trading volume is low. So when the trading volume is low, the technical derivatives or the technical analysis actually fails in this particular perspective. There you need to analyze how the fundamentals of that company are and then plot it according to that. So you can pick any other company. We'll just check it out. That's not a problem. Then there's a dividend yield. Then there's this particular quarter that they have done. Deepak Nitrite is not one of the 15 that we had given calls for. Then this is the quarterly sales that intros that the company is doing, and this is quarterly sales variation percentage. So variation percentage actually gives you a quarter-on-quarter growth in that particular company, how it is growing. So when it is a huge percentage growth in a positive format, that means the company is growing in an upward trajectory, even if the share value is at a lower point. Then this is market cap divided by sales, and this is the 3 year of the ROCE. All right. So what I'll do is I'll give you an example. So this is a small Deloitte report in terms of comparable analysis. So sort of you were asking me the same thing. So you can compare these industry analysis or the companies internationally or nationally to get a trend basically. So like now we're considering the network business, for example. Okay. So if you're doing a comparison for, you can say Vodafone Idea or Airtel basically. So these are their EBITDA margins. These are their revenue margins in terms of multiplier against the international market. So you completely understand what kind of the trends is there in that particular sector right now. So this report, if there's a date on this report, I don't know. So it's fairly new. So to get the trends of that particular market or to get the trends of that particular sector, you can do market multipliers in various countries. You can get various stocks in all over the world and compare it with that particular industry as to how that particular segment is performing in India, basically. So this is you can say the network business, basically the communications business. So we have a 3 year, 5 year average. This is EV divided by revenue. Okay. So this is the revenue multipliers, basically what they are performing. And then this is the EBITDA margin. So EBITDA margin also actually gives you an idea about what kind of trend or what kind of average that the business. So when you consider an average in December 20, so your average of EBITDA margin was more or less going in an industry standard of 34%. So you can identify that your Airtel is giving you good EBITDA. Indus Towers is giving you good EBITDA. Vodafone Idea is actually less than the market standards, and Tata Communications is less than the market standards. So this is where you identify how the market trends are working around. All right. Okay. So let's identify a singular company about how we can pitch in that particular analysis also. So this is Home First Finance Company India Limited. So this is Q4 of financial year 21. So this is the latest report that we're talking about right now. So quarter 4 of the financial year 2021 basically. So the source here is HDFC Securities. So the year-on-year projection, whatever it is given here. So this is Q3, Q4 FY 2021. This comparison is basically last quarter of last year and last quarter of this year. What is the basic comparison of these 2 quarters of this particular company? So if you can see, the profit after tax is growing basically. And then what we do is we derive a historical 3-year data of that particular company and then put it in 2-year projections. So when this is E, it is expected basically. So according to that ratio, it is a growing company. So in financial year 19, it was 127, then it was 198, then financial year 21 was 248. The top. So that is why it is on an upward growth trajectory is what we can see. Depending upon the percentage or whatever the contracts that they have in place, the company has assumed that it will give you around 315 top line, and in FY23 it will give you a 404 top line. So now it is a growth in revenue perspective. So it is growing steadily in certain, we can say, in certain percentages. So then you come on to the next part where you consider even the profit after tax has been growing consistently against the top line that they're making. So when you see the profit after tax, it was earlier it was 45, then it is 70, now it is 100. So it is growing consistently out of, you can say, there's a consistent growth basically, even in the profits. So when the company is growing in the top line, the profit should also grow in the same correlation. If going in the same correlation, you need to identify what is wrong there basically. So these are the basic PE averages that year on year that whatever it is giving out. So here sort of like theoretically that you were told that lesser the PE average, in theoretically it is growing. So the PE jump here was very high, then it is reduced. So when you see FY 20 to 21, the PE is reduced and it is continuously reducing. This can be a good sign in terms of considering that investment in that company also. This is a basic company background, peer comparison. So here you can compare the AUM, and this is a basic competition analysis that you do with whatever companies are already there in that particular, if there are, and what is the numbers that company is giving you in terms of the top line at the bottom line. So let's go on to the financial statements. Like I told in the presentation, we can plot these basic you can say financial statements, the income statement as well as balance sheet. These days all this information is publicly available, so you can say most of you might be using Zerodha. So Zerodha has a whole chart about the financial income statements where the fundamental options is already, so you don't need to identify all that and put it into an Excel sheet format. You just go online and assess what kind of companies are there. So here the total interest income is growing year on year. The interest expenses is also growing in that particular format, but the profit after tax, whatever is shown here, it is growing in a very consistent format. So when there is, so it is very simple, in layman's term, revenue is growing, the profit is growing. By default, the share value will also grow with that particular format. So you need to identify what kind of share capital and what kind of balance sheet that the company has right now. So if you see, even when the company is on growth, there is a cash in bank that is growing. There is the investments that have been growing. So tangible assets are also growing. So this gives you another good flag or a green flag in terms of considering the investment in that particular company. Now, next page will be the key ratios, whatever we've said. So let's go here in terms of the valuation ratios, basically. So in terms of EPS that we've calculated, this is the year on year. It has dipped in 1920, but it is growing consistently in the next coming years. Again, PE, it has grown significantly, but it is dipping year on year. So this is also a green flag. Dividend per share has not been issued. So because then I think the holding of that company, public holding of that company will be very less. Average net worth divided by the total assets. So basically, this gives you an idea about the net worth of that company divided by the total number of assets that is in place. So basically, 100 rupees of investment, 100 rupees of assets that have been generated, what correlation has it given to you in terms of the net worth increase in that particular company? So when automatically the net worth increases, again the share price or the intrinsic value, the basic value of that company also grows. That is related here. So going forward, so it is given that the investors can buy at, you can say add more at 461, which is 2.45 ABV of financial year 23 expected, and their base fair value is 565. So this, again, coming back to this slide, see 2.45 times of financial year 23. So this is the projection on the 23 financial year here. So this is the ABV. Okay. So here, the recommendations will be in certain format where the business valuation, the accredited business valuation, that is the ABV, is growing in certain format, which is, 3 times it is growing, 2.45 times it is growing, 3 times it is growing in the financial year 23. So we actually say that it is on a growth trajectory, basically. So when it is on the growth trajectory, you multiply that particular average of that ABV with the current value multiplied by whatever the multiplier that we get in that, you can say the base value of that particular company. This gives you a fair value of actually what it will be priced in a year or so. So this is more or less in a year or so down the line. Was this clear, or was this confusing, or do you want me to repeat it again? I have another example which we can consider as well. But do you have any queries in this particular example? Yes, no? Could I get it in the comment box at least? All right. So going forward, let's consider another company called as PNC Infratech. Okay. So this is the standalone financial summary that is provided. Again, we are comparing 2 cases from HDFC Securities. So this is the top line of these of this particular company that is being given to us. So you can say that you can see the first thing is the top line of that company has been increasing or growing year on year. So the company in the revenue format is on an upward trajectory. Now, if you consider EBITDA, here there is a drop from FY20 to FY21. This can be considered due to the, you can say, the COVID scenario. But at this point of time, if you even consider the top line, it is almost equal to what they have done in the past stage. So it is not on a negative trajectory, but it is not even on the growth trajectory. So this is where you compare a particular year-on-year execution of that company also. So yes, there is a dip in that depreciation almost remains same because there won't be any kind of an investments there. Diluted EPS ratio and as well as the PE ratio. So here the PE ratio again is dipping slowly. Depends on the industry standard again. It is not particularly you can say the whole it is not particularly dependent upon if it is growing or if it is decreasing, then only you are supposed to invest in that particular company. It depends on the scenario to scenario. So we need to compare this particular ratios with the industry standards. So yeah, so the recent triggers here, as mentioned, this company has a good order book. So if this company has a good order book, it actually means that it can be on a growth trajectory because the orders are already there in hand. Yeah, compared to its peers, this is the basic comparison with the companies that are already there in this particular segment. So it is a segment comparison and the financials. So you can plot out these financials in terms of the revenues, the growth, the EBITDA, again, profit after tax, and the same numbers are there. EPS is also there. So this kind of ratios, when you calculate for every kind of a company, you can see if it is on a growth trajectory or if it is on a negative trajectory. So I think it is on a growth trajectory, so it will be a recommendation somewhere around you can say 3 times or 13 times of the intrinsic value. Yes, this is the EPS more or less the average will be around 14 or 15 odd. So here the recommendation will be buy this particular share for a long-term period, basically. Analysis basically is not a day trading kind of an algorithm. It is investing in a company for a long term for a higher kind of a duration. So you need to have patience when you actually invest in these particular kind of companies. So these are not those kind of companies where you can make quick profit. But profits are on a very high multiplier basis. You can say 13 times, 15 times. That is how you gain in this particular you can say analysis. See, there are a lot of posts on Instagram say if we had invested ₹1 lakh in 2005 in Bajaj Finance, right now it would have been somewhere around 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs. So this is basically 15 time multiplier. So when I'm talking about 13x or 15x, this is the kind of multipliers that are there in the market. You just need to identify those upcoming companies. In the valuation ratios, like we said again, ratios can be there in the same format, and then dropping down to the recommendations. Yeah, 10 times will be the base of that EPS. Base target will be 287, and the bull case will be around 310. So these can be the three, you can say, soft, pessimistic, or very aggressive approach. Whatever kind of recommendations that you want to do here, basically. So yeah, that was in short how and the basic fundamental analysis is done. So are there any queries, or do you want me to go to a specific particular point?
So there's one question which says, after selecting and investing into a company, how long should be one's waiting period? Like, how should we decide kab tak wait karna hai? Like, when should we decide our exit?
So the recommendations that we have done right now, even for PNs, So that was considering the multipliers of 22, right? So the ratio that we had done for multiplying the futuristic value, or the you can say the targeted value, the target base, that was done in 23, right? So it is more or less in a year or 1.5 year kind of a you can say timeline. That was the recommendation. So when you multiply it by, you can say the same chart, you can make it by quarter to quarter also. So when you do it on a quarter to quarter basis, you identify those timelines which are there in the near 2 quarters or 3 quarters. So, our strategy sort of basically is, long-term investments itself. So we focus more on those kind of stocks which have been underperforming for this year, but fundamental concept on that particular company, and will give us multiplier returns in the coming future. So we don't see as humko 8% mila, 7% mila, we got 7% due to the market ups and downs. We don't see that. We see that we'll be putting a big chunk of money in that particular company in 2021, and we'll be withdrawing in 23. Now, forget it for the next 2 years. But of course, you have to analyze our investments every quarter also. When the quarterly statements are released in that particular company, that is when we decide the existing positions also. If we want to dilute it, we want to still keep it. So whatever projections we have made, say 3 months back, are they actually sufficient, or are they actually you can say on point where it actually makes sense? When to sell, because fundamental and technical show when to sell. So when you're talking about a target, basically, you can do it in such a format that my target for a share is, for example, 310 rupees in a period or in a horizon of say 6 months. So when you say a horizon of 6 months, 6 months later, if we are more or less at a 310 or 315 kind of an average, that is the point of time when we sell it up. In that consideration also, when you're thinking about selling off, you can actually make a whole fundamental analysis start in the future perspective also. If you think you have that particular holding capacity to go on for you can say for years to come, you can stay invested in that company if you think the fundamentals are actually good in that particular company. But when you see that the fundamentals have changed, now the PE ratio has gone very high according to the industry standard. This industry is not performing very well. That is the time you can dilute your portfolio perspective. So you need to identify what kind of timeline that you are going to invest in when you put in the money. You tukka nahi khelna hai, very frankly speaking. There is a difference between actually gambling and a calculated risk. So this is when you do a fundamental analysis, it is a calculated risk that 6 months down the line, I'll be invested in that company for say the next 2 quarters. And my target is say whatever 300 rupees is my target. Right now it is at 245. So you stay invested for those 6 months till that time, unless and until the 310 mark is reached. Of course, you need to set your trigger values also, your base values also. You have to keep it in such a format that if this drops below say 220 bucks, I will sell it. Stop loss job in bolte hai. You need to access that stop. You need to identify what kind of appetite you can see in terms of taking that risk in this particular investment. So every investment or every tranche should have a supporting analysis or a supporting research, is what our philosophy is basically.
So I have a doubt. So like, suppose I have 1 lakh rupees which I am going to invest in the market. So right now the market is up. So I may not prefer to invest, or I invest half of it or 40 or 50% of it. So like, how can someone decide ki kitna like one should buy right now and how much like he'll hold, like the market dip hoga, then I'll buy it again. Yeah, waisa kuch.
See, it is very simple. You have a chunk of money. You're not supposed to invest all of that money in one stock. That is always going to be the mantra basically. So now our fund philosophy is we don't invest more than 5% of our whole corpus in one particular company, whatever the corpus might be. So अगर फॉर एग्जांपल हमारे पास अभी कुछ एक 100 करोड़ रुपए है तो हम 5 करोड़ के ऊपर एक कंपनी में नहीं डालेंगे. That is the simple most formula that you need to identify internally as well. So now if you're doing it on your own, say you won't invest $10,000 out of that 1 lakh in one singular company. उसके ऊपर नहीं था. So your tranches will be set at 10,000 capping. Okay. Now on that 10,000 capping, even if the market is high, even if the market is up right now, you do your analysis in terms of the fundamental analysis to you have to identify when are you thinking about selling it off also. Okay. Abhi now you're entering into that particular market where you are thinking about a 6 month down the line horizon. तो तुम जब 6 महीने बाद की बात अगर देख रहे हो तो this upward trend and negative trend won't matter because it will balance it out.
Okay.
So right, for example, you're thinking about investing in that particular company which is a 100 rupee share value. कोई भी एक random company देख लो आप, ठीक है? उसमें आप अगर 100 रुपए अभी डालने का सोच रहे हो, 100 रुपए के वैल्यू पे आप एंटर होने का सोच रहे हो, your analysis say it is going to go at 160, right? So your investment value will be somewhere around 92, 94, 95, 100, because if it is up, if it is fueling basically, थोड़ा सा fuel है market में, इसलिए you think that it is going to drop down also. The Sensex might drop down, which will affect all of these stocks. So you can wait for 2-3 days, let it balance out. So the current actual value is also calculated based on these formulas. So when we say I'll get, मैं आपको share करता हूँ exact idea about what we're talking about. You guys can see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the PNC Infratech wala chart, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now here, if we consider on this particular year, okay, we are at FY21 right now. So at FY21, say this stock is trading at 100 rupees. Okay. Consider this exact scenario in the earlier year. Okay. On the earlier year, it was more or less in a more, you can say it was more or less on a positive format. So if the stock is trading value, but the fundamentals have improved right now. So by default, the intrinsic values are going to go up when the results are out, right? So that is the point of time you enter into that particular stock, taking your taking the exit case target of 23. So this is basically a long-term investment in 23 that we are targeting in terms of those multipliers. So if you multiply it by 22, the expected price of 22, you get the same multiplier. You can say the base case target price. Okay, so on that comparison, if you multiply this EPS to the last year value, the financial year 20 value, it gives you the actual value of what it should be at financial year 21, more or less. Because if we are trying to calculate value in 22 years, you can say 2 years later. So आज का जो साल है, at this point of time, this multiplier will be applicable in a year later, a year earlier also. So take down the earlier value and put the same ratios. So that will give you an idea about what exactly the value should be today. Now you can identify that my value is coming somewhere around 100 rupees and actual value is somewhere around 102. We can buy it. And then the target is basically higher.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Did you get a vague idea about what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I sold a share at 500, but it's now 1500. What to do to avoid such mistakes? What did you think at that point of time when you sold it off? Did you need the money or were you very... And when did you sell it off at 500? You thought it was overvalued. आप ऑडियो ऑन करके अगर बात कर सकते हो तो that will be better rather than just on chat.
You can raise your hand. I'll unmute you.
Yeah.
Sir, can you name the person? I'll just unmute.
Heath Parekh. अच्छा direct message था. Heath Parekh.
Heath, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
So, means I was thinking that it's overvalued, so I sold. And so, means in this entire bull run, sir, many of the stocks were sold, and they are the thing is they are doubling and tripling. What to do for it?
What was the time when did you do this?
Approximately in February. February when?
February of 21, right?
Yeah.
See, February of 21, when it is a lockdown ratio, right? It is going to go down. That is the entire trend which we usually see when the lockdown and everything is announced. So these are all external factors where the fundamental and technical analysis obviously fail, because this is the time when the investors are reacting on how the market scenario is going forward. But if you consider at that point of time, did you do any kind of an analysis where it is going to say that it is going up? पारिक साहब अनम्यूट करके बात करो ना थोड़ा.
अरे sir, I was muted by the host. Sir, see, I thought that it's overvalued, so I sold because sir, when I thought it's overvalued, so I sold.
No,
But
thought is different. What was the research?
research was done. I was done. The fundamentally the company was strong, so I invested it, and I got a news from someone that you should invest in. So I researched it about, and the entire thing.
A entry for someone is a very very wrong. You can say किसी से सोच के आपने किसी की बात सुन के आपने ये टिप लिया है, तो that is very wrong. You tell me what your analysis was.
No, someone told me that this stock looks good, so I analyzed myself, and I did the entire analysis. Then technically I also did something, so I thought that it's a good point of entry, so I bought it, and then I just got 20-25% profit, and I then just sold it off. But sir, it's now.
So what was your targeted value there?
I didn't have any such target. I just thought that I did it for investment purpose, not for short term.
So you need to set it in terms of two things. This is my targeted value, and this is the horizon I'm going to hold. Okay.
Okay.
तो उसमें आपको बुरा नहीं लगेगा. Even when you do a analysis कि मैं 6 महीना ही होल्ड करने वाला हूँ, उसके बाद भी अगर वो स्टॉक बहुत बढ़ गया ना, तो उसमें वो प्रॉफिट तुम्हारा है ही नहीं, because you've already exited that position. It is as simple as that. Your analysis at that point of time told you that the company was good, correct?
Yes.
You sold it at say 500 or 600. I don't remember what is the value. You sold it at 500 bucks, but you earned 2021 profit out of that, right?
Yes.
Had you defined a target price out of that?
I just thought that 12% I am getting average in this means when we give to someone on interest. I said that 12% is for minimum, but I got 20%, so I sold it off.
But did you have a targeted price set on that? कि इतना stock बढ़ेगा. So that is where you need to identify कि when you, if you would have done a fundamental analysis, there is a chance that you could have analyzed that the stock is going to go multiple folds.
Okay.
करो हर बार, for everyone, not even just you. Whenever you're entering a position, define a timeline that I'm going to think about a timeline of around 6 months, 3 months, 3 weeks करो, 4 weeks करो, फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. 1 महीना होल्ड करना है मुझको ये स्टॉक. बट वो 1 महीना होल्ड करोगे, उसके बाद तुम्हारा टारगेट सेट होना चाहिए कि दिस इज द टारगेटेड प्राइस दैट आई एम थिंकिंग अबाउट सेलिंग इट ऑफ. सेल इट ऑफ एट दैट प्राइस, खत्म करो. तुम्हारा एनालिसिस बोल रहा था कि इतना ही है, उसके बाद तुमने प्रॉफिट कमा लिया तो बहुत अच्छी बात.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, I also want to ask that recently when the companies are showing, I mean, they are giving the results, then why the prices are getting discounted in this situation?
I could not hear you. Could you repeat again?
So recently in all the quarters, I mean, in just last quarter, when the companies are posting the results, why was the pricing getting discounted? The results were very good.
See, I don't do it on a day trade basis. I'll be very honest with that. I do it on always we do it on a long-term basis. But see, there are many external factors that come into play when the results are announced. So, for example, when the results are announced and it is positive or it is more or less similar like the past year, people tend to sell it off because there is no growth in that particular company. Even if it is a good, you can say, if it is a good result, that company ने decent profit बनाया है, company का अच्छा है. So what happens is it is at a value which they have performed last year also. It is at the same value, even if it is a profit making entity. So there is a chance कि उसमें growth perspective कुछ नहीं है, तो वो value multiplier उसमें कुछ applicable नहीं होता है. That is where, you know, institutional investors tend to sell it off also. In this particular quarter क्या हो गया है ना, I'll tell you. January, December quarter के जो results हुए हैं, all of this have been affected by by COVID and the pandemic. So most of the results of all of these companies have not been on a growth trajectory कि पिछले साल मैंने 100 रुपए बनाया था, अब मैं 120 रुपए बना रहा हूँ. वैसा नहीं हुआ है. बहुत चीजें ऐसी है कि हमने 100 रुपए बनाया, अब आज मुश्किल से जाके 80 रुपए पे पहुंचे. So that is where, you know, the company or that value is going to balance it off what it was in the last year. You have to think कि तुमने कब enter किया है वो particular company. अभी now very frankly, most of the prices that are there at this point of time in most of those stocks were same what they were there at the pre-pandemic. Pandemic के पहले उतना ही same था. So if you consider a 1 year analysis, people have got a lot of money. But वो point of time पे तुम्हारे पास April, May of 2020 वो तुम्हारा invest करने का time होता है. When it has dropped, the market has dropped drastically. That is the time when you pick up blue chip stocks. So when you consider coming a year down the line, those companies have mostly performed what they had done in the previous year. So अगर उनका एक साल पहले कुछ 1000 रुपए का प्राइस था और अभी उनका 980 चल रहा है, तो they have balanced out the price after the deterioration or going down in the pandemic itself. So they have balanced it at that point of time. Now you need to identify if they have growth perspective. If they have growth perspective, it is a good time to enter right now also. If they don't have those growth perspectives, you know, your fundamental analysis, it does not make sense to particularly enter into that stock again. Upcoming Zomato IPO. बहुत बड़ा रिपोर्ट है, शेयर कर देता हूं. But Zomato is very unpredictable, frankly speaking. There have been a lot of indirect investments of companies coming in as startups, but overall the company is not making any kind of a profit. So I'm not very sure what the dividends will be issued, what kind of performances they do post IPO perspective. If they come into a profit, at least they reduce their losses, then it is a good investment. I have not seen the whole charts. Zomato. अरे बस हो गया Zomato. दूसरा कुछ पूछो. 5 people have asked me Zomato IPO. See, Zomato is a very huge company. If it is a huge company, it is currently making huge losses. If they stop making losses in, say, quarters, or they've reduced those losses, then it is a good investment. वो अगर 2 साल पहले 1000 करोड़ का लॉस कर रहे थे, अभी वो 500 करोड़ का लॉस कर रहे हैं, तो बाय डिफॉल्ट उन्होंने नेट प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी और नेट ऑपरेशनल प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी उनकी बढ़ाई है. So if they are reducing their losses going forward, it is a good company. If they have increased the losses year on year and top line भी उसके against increase की है, so see what kind of percentage loss that they are doing. ठीक है? Say उनका net loss पहले 8% था, अभी 12% हो गया, फिर 16% हो रहा है. So the loss percentage is also increasing against the top line. So the loss percentage is increasing, it is going to perform. वो आगे जाके drop हो सकता है इसका value because it is earning cash. It is not a cash positive company. Any books you would recommend? Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. That will be my recommendation. But rather than the books and everything, I'll tell you कि start plotting your own charts, start plotting your own, you can say your analysis. Start plotting कि एक साल पहले ये था, ये परफॉर्मेंस था कंपनी का, ये अभी के साल में इसका ये परफॉर्मेंस है, दिस इज द वैल्यू ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक. So you will start analyzing the company based on how they have performed in the past. That is where, you know, your own analysis, you will be very well aware about that company when anybody asks you कि ये company कैसा है, वो company कैसा है. So हवे में बात करना छोड़ दो. Do some kind of a research where you do it only on 15 companies. That is fine. You don't need to analyze hundreds of companies. Does not make sense. Pick 15 or 20 odd companies you think are good, have been growing year on year in a very positive format. Uska fundamental analysis, put it in this, take out the market cap, has it increased? Has it increased? Then quarterly value, quarter on quarter uska growth ho raha hai. So कोई problem नहीं आएगा उसमें. Yeah, you can share it with me when you analyze that also. That is not a problem. 1 minute, I'll just drop in my email ID as well. Yeah. Yeah, you can share it with me. If we decide to invest, then तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. अगर उसमें आप मुझको प्रॉफिट बना के देते हो तो कोई इश्यू नहीं है, बिल्कुल दे देना. रिसर्च डेटा इज ऑलवेज वेलकम. बट मैं पहले ही बता दे रहा हूँ, कोई प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग मैं नहीं करने वाला किसी के. So guys, that's all. Do we have any more queries?
No, sir. That we don't have any queries in the chat box.
Yeah, direct messages are also over. I think I've addressed all of those.
Yeah.
All right then. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you for being so patient.
Mr. Parth, it was a wonderful session. Thank you for making students understand. And actually, there is a lot of difference between studying the subject and actually, you know, having it from the practical aspect, which you showed the chart and actually calculating it out. It was like really wonderfully explained and taught by you. So thank you so much. And I understand you were not keeping well, and I could hear that you've been coughing a lot. So
No, that's
sorry
fine.
to trouble you,
fine.
but thank you so much for your efforts put in for the entire program. And I thank the BFM committee. I thank Professor Rahul Mishra. I can see him have joined in for the session. Thank you to all the participants, audiences. And Mr. Parth, we look forward for more such sessions from you. So
definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Thank you for being so patient for all the participants who were there. And yeah, I'll be sharing the drive link with the presentations and everything, so the students can take a look at the presentation that I've shared. That is not an issue.
Thank you so
all
much.
Right. Thank you.
So much, sir.
Thank you
so much, sir.
We will stop the recording.
Yeah, let's stop the recording and